Hello, my name is John Hawley, and I am principal at the Center for Math and Science in Rock Island, Illinois.
I'm Ian Scott, principal at Thomas Jefferson in Milan, Illinois, and we are your MyRock podcast hosts.
MyRock celebrates what makes RIMSD 41 thrive. Each episode shares inspiring stories and insights from behind the scenes, sharing the heart of our schools.
The podcast also supports our 2030 strategic plan by fostering connections, building relationships, and strengthening communication within our district and our community.
Thank you to all the listeners who've joined us tonight. And remember to share, like, and subscribe where you get your podcasts.
If you're feeling generous, give us 5 stars. Tell a friend to give us a listen.
John, how are you today?
I am doing wonderfully, and I'm super excited about today's guest. She's going to tell us all about the preschool program and all that passion that she has. It's just going to be a great episode.
I think so, too. So our guest today is Nicole Berry, and we're going to go ahead and let her kind of lead off with what her role is in the
Well,
Rock
we
Island
should
Line.
ask her, like, how are you doing today?
Let's start with that. How
Yeah.
are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Good. Now, would you like to tell us a little bit about what you do for the Rock Island Milan School District, the role that you're in currently, and then we'll talk a little bit about how you got there.
Okay. I am the director of the early childhood programs. We are housed at Horace Mann. I'm housed at Horace Mann, and we have preschool classrooms in 7 different buildings.
Can you name those buildings?
I absolutely can. We have 2 classrooms at Rock Island Center for Math and Science.
You would start with him.
Well, I go alphabetically.
Okay, good.
I operate that way. So then after that is Hanson. We have 2 classrooms at Hanson. We have a whole lot of rooms at Horace Mann. 13 at Horace Mann. And then at Jefferson, we have 2. 1 at Longfellow, 4 at Marshall, 1 at Ridgewood.
Nice. Well done. Now, I also heard the other night at the school board meeting that you guys are at capacity. Is that right? What's your capacity?
For Head Start, it is 255 students, and we are fully enrolled. We
That's
have a wait
awesome.
list, operating on a
Wow.
wait list.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
That is great.
That says a lot to the program that we're running and have been running. How long have you been in the role?
I have been here in the district for 19 years. This is my 19th year.
And how long as director?
Yes, 19 years.
All of them.
All of them. Yes.
Let's talk about before the 19 years. What was your road to education?
When I started out, actually, I was telling John before this that I actually started out majoring in communications when I was in college. And somewhere along the way, I want to say it was junior year, it was the end of junior year, I think, wasn't 100% sure that that's the direction I wanted to take. And one of my mom's friends was a special education teacher, and I went and did some volunteering in her classroom, and I absolutely fell in love. So I decided that was what I was going to do, and I finished up my bachelor's degree in elementary education, and then the quarter that I was student teaching, I started my master's in special ed at night. So it was pretty crazy there for a couple years. And then I taught special education for about 5 or 6 years, and then I decided to pursue a second master's in administration and leadership. I worked as a special education coordinator for 3 years in the Henry Stark Cooperative, assigned to the Geneseo School District, and then I came here in July of 2007.
Wow. So you talked about how you fell in love with education. You know, you've been doing this now for a total of
28 years.
Okay, so longer than 19. But 28 years. How do you sustain that love?
I think you have to know your why and remember your why. Every single day, I go home on the drive home and I review the day and I think about the things that went well, the things that could have been different, and I try to have that balance where once I get home, I need to just kind of check out and just be at home, and so then that way I have that time to kind of de-stress, if you will, to then come back the next day fresh.
Sounds great. I know we've got that drive home too.
Yeah.
And it is like that decompression time where you can kind of think about the day, reflect a little bit, plan for the next day, and then when you get home, you can kind of be with your family.
Yes.
You know, so.
And I think the average viewer probably has no clue what are all the tasks and all the responsibilities you have in your role. And I do want you to speak about that a little bit, but I was just listening to a podcast myself, a really good one.
Was it this?
We're trying to get that way.
Like it's the opposite
But they had
of what we're doing.
Oh
here.
no, we're gonna get there. But the podcaster gave his definition of passion, and his definition was passion is when you know the cost of something, and you still go after it no matter what. And I guess for the time that I've worked here with you, I see that passion. This podcast is about all the passion that's in Rock Island to try to educate kids and to be successful. I see that passion in you. And I know from the things you've told me, from federal grants to all the things, like, how do you keep that passion? Where does that passion come from? And
so I think originally I would say that the passion came, I'm originally from Chicago, and I felt like when I took this position, well, even starting when I taught special education, was being able to service the students and families that were at risk and wanting to help them to be the best that they could be. And so when I took this position, I feel like that's been my why this whole time, is just trying to make sure that the one thing I always tell my husband at the end of the day is when I leave this program and I retire from this position, I want the program to be better than it was when I came. Not that it wasn't good when I came, but I feel like when you leave something that you're passionate about, you should leave it better than the way when you went into it. And so I feel like that passion for me is trying to continue to help the children and families. But really, honestly, at the end of the day, I get the passion from being able to support the staff. I have about 95 staff, and I feel like building those relationships and that rapport, I try to personally connect with as many of them as I can. So it's not all about work. I can joke around with them and have goofy conversations about things, and they know that I'm somebody that they can come talk to. So
It's interesting to hear because, we've had several guests here and they talk about that passion and how they try to sustain it and that. And then they talk about legacy. And we've talked about that before with several of our guests. And that's what you're talking about. You're talking about how you want to leave something better than you started with it. And that's pretty awesome. No pressure. You are building a foundation for what we all do at the elementary level, at the junior high level, at the high school. Not all those 255 come to Rock Island Milan schools,
right.
But tell us a little bit about some of those foundational skills, some of those things you're preparing those kids in those pre-K Head Start classrooms so that when they hit kindergarten, when they come into John and I's building and all the other elementary schools, they're ready to go.
So the 255 is Head Start. So that in addition to that, like altogether, there's just shy of 500. When you think of the students that are in Head Start, Preschool for All, and then the Early Childhood Special Education, it's about just shy of 500.
Wow.
As they acclimate and move into kindergarten, one of the things we talk about is the whole child, and we really want to try to support the family so that they are learning how to do education, that they're learning how to advocate for their child, that they're learning how to advocate for themselves. We try to prepare them with resources. If they don't have a dental home or a medical home, we're helping to provide those things. We help them with food vouchers, all that kind of stuff. But I really feel like for the children, the biggest thing, I saw a quote the other day, and it was basically saying that if we're trying to teach children kindness, but we are going crazy, and that's what we're exemplifying to the student, we're not carrying out our message.
Yeah.
So it was a conscious discipline, and that's part of what we do within the program. Our social emotional curriculum is conscious discipline, and I think that is the foundation. All the academic stuff you can teach them along the way somewhere, but that social emotional piece is crucial. And one thing I always tell people is sometimes when they get to kindergarten, I'll get phone calls and people are like, hey, what did you do with, whatever, this child? And I always say, when they come into our program, we don't turn anybody away. We take them and we work with the child and the family the whole time that they're with us. And we are really trying to focus in on helping that family, but building those social emotional skills is huge. That's the biggest foundation, I would say, that helps to carry them to success.
Thank you. That's great. So I have something that we're gonna learn a little bit more about you. We're gonna learn these are all professional, and you're
Sure.
answering so well.
Thank you. John's not asking hardly any questions.
Oh, he will.
Do you got,
He will.
oh,
Yeah, he's
okay, great.
locked and loaded. He's ready.
Okay, ready to
But
go.
this
I
one,
just kind of
was-
felt today, he was
He's
on
on it,
point,
right. No,
and
I'm
I just
just-
need to back up
I don't
and
know
let
if
him
there's a
go.
balance.
He's the young
there
guy.
is. There's
Eye
a yin and
contact
yang.
thing,
Yep,
or-
yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
So, okay, so this is. I'll back off after this one. Does that sound good?
No, I mean, you're fine. I just...
So tell me more about alpacas.
Alpacas. So anybody that knows me, my staff knows this about me. One of my brand new secretary, she was a program assistant. She just decorated my door and said, this is an amazing preschool. So my staff know this about me, but I am a huge lover of alpacas. If you don't know anything about alpacas, you have to buy them in pairs. You can have more than two, but they actually will die of loneliness if there's just a single alpaca, and that's really sad. So the average cost, I know a whole lot about alpacas, the average cost of a baby alpaca is like $1,500 to $3,000 depending. And National Alpaca Day is the last weekend of September, and McCarty's Corner Farm, shout out to McCarty's Corner Farm in Eldridge, Iowa. They do a National Alpaca Day, and you get to hang with the alpacas, take a picture with the alpacas, feed the alpacas. It's a whole thing, and I love it. Every year I go, I do.
John is giggling over there. How I came to know this is she was out in our neck of the woods, out there in Eldridge, and I saw her car pulled off on the side of the road. There was parking just on the side of a 2-lane highway, and I recognized her.
How did you
Her
recognize
car.
her car,
Yes,
Ian?
please
Was it
tell
the
us.
license plate?
I think it was. What's that license plate? No, we shouldn't put that out there for everybody, should we? But I did. So I texted her. I said, "What are you doing out here?" And she said, it was one word: alpacas. Nothing else, no context or anything like that. And I just said, okay, you need to tell me more. So now I'm glad that it kind of came full circle.
And I'm so surprised the two of you didn't know about this, considering that you're
I
out
did it,
there.
and it was
I
a
just-
national festival.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it for a few years. It's a big
Yeah,
deal.
so
I have videos and pictures anytime you want to see that.
maybe later.
Yeah. And so, hey, is there some correlation or connection between alpacas and your leadership style?
Oh, wow. Alpacas in my leadership style.
I'm
in a
surprised
way,
you
there
haven't.
kind of
I'm surprised you
is.
haven't graphed that
Well,
out.
no one's
I'm
ever asked
picturing the
that
map.
question.
There's
No
a
one's ever asked that.
correlation
But
there.
now that you're saying that, I feel like I'm going to dig into this more. So I'm saying that they're very kind of free spirited. And I feel like some days when we show up, we have something planned for the day, and then you just end up having to wing it because it doesn't go the way that you want. And if you ever go right down the road to McCarty's Corner Farm, they're just winging it. Like, they may all of a sudden start running. They may walk. They make this sound. It's like this really sad sound when they're calling for another alpaca or the owner or something. It's incredibly sad. You're like, oh my gosh, I just want to give that thing a hug. So I feel like just the
We
fact
have
that
we
they
have a
just
very
wing
urban
it.
community here, and I'm not sure
Yeah.
many of our students would see alpaca. They'd probably like to hear it if they're viewing. Like, can you
Yeah.
replicate the
Yeah.
sound?
No, I can't.
But have you
No.
tried?
No.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not
Well,
the
there's a first
sound
time for
person.
everything.
I'm sorry, no, I'm not the sound person. I can't do that very well.
Well, I'm looking forward to the second episode with Nicole Berry, where we get to hear all about
The follow-up.
Maybe I'll practice by
Y-
then. but
yes.
I'll work on the sound.
And I
Okay.
want to hear the mapping of your leadership style in
gotcha.
connection to
Okay.
alpacas. Okay, I've got a question about leadership too, and you have been in your role, and you've been in the district for a long time. And so we have some viewers here who belong in or who are from the district and maybe thinking about getting a master's to become an administrator. What advice do you have for our teachers who, and maybe it's for your own level of staff in preschool, it might be for, K-6 or whatever,
Yeah.
but do you have any advice for educators from all your wisdom?
I really think that it comes back to having a vision, and as I talked about before, knowing your why. You have to have something that drives you every day because, as we know, there's going to be challenges, and I think being able to As you know, I use a lot of sarcasm and humor because that's my coping strategy. Because, right, like it's not, you have to be able, I want to be real with the staff and the parents and things like that. You want them to be able to have that connection with you. So I think just being able to have those things is helpful. But really, at the end of the day, if you have a vision to globally, as a teacher, I felt like I could impact the students in my classroom, and I could help the parents and that kind of thing. I could be on committees, I could give my voice that way. And somewhere along the way, I was like, okay, I want to be able to take a step further. And so that was the drive to do administration. And I ended up as the director of preschool. At the time, I thought I was I was a special ed coordinator, as I mentioned. I thought I would go down that route. But I kind of view them one and the same, because you're still helping some of the people that don't always have a voice, and being able to help the at-risk families and things like that may not have a voice or may not know how to do something. It's like that, to me, is what I feel is my focus. But for administrators, I think you have to really you can't be a silent administrator. You have to advocate for your, in my case, program and staff, but you have to advocate for your people, and those stakeholders, the people are, the students and the teachers and the parents and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
And so I think this might be a good time to share about your license plate.
Oh, okay. Well,
since you've talked
I'm back.
about
Full
sarcasm,
circle.
yeah. What?
So my license plate says some filter, and the reason why it says some filter is my husband started several years ago, getting personalized plates, and he's got a truck and a Mustang, and one says no filter, and one says no filter too. And for any of the viewers or anything that know my husband, you know exactly why it says no filter. And so he and I had a conversation a few years back and decided that I had some filter. I knew when to turn it on and turn it off. He doesn't always know that very well. So, and both of these guys know my husband, so I feel like they understand why it says no filter. But
yes, I do understand that.
You've mentioned a couple times knowing your why, and that's a Simon Sinek thing.
Yep.
And do you have any other books or podcasts or anything like that you can kind of share with our viewers that really is something that you kind of taken to heart, or it just generated something in you that kind of lit a fire, and you're like, you know what, that why, knowing your why is so important. I do come back to that quite a bit too, and I hear a lot of leaders coming back to that. But is there anything else that any other influences there that really kind of had an impact on you as a leader?
I've read all of Simon's books,
Yep.
so I'm a huge fan. I follow him on social media and things like that. I'm a huge fan, and I love his optimism. I just love how he can take a challenging situation and turn it into a positive. One of his books is called Leaders Eat Last. And I love that one because I feel like, again, when you move into, in a weird way, I connect it to parenting, because I feel like if you're somebody that doesn't have children, it's okay that it's about you or, your close-knit people around you. But once you become a parent, it's not about you anymore.
Right.
I just remember feeling that way 25 years ago when I had my oldest. It's like, it's not about me anymore. It's about the child. So I feel the same way as a leader. It's not about me. Like the program, if the program's doing great, it's not because I'm doing great. It's because the people that I lead are doing great.
Yep.
And so I just feel very passionate about the fact that it's not we eat last. Like we're supposed to be there to help others.
Right.
So.
Right.
I do have a follow-up on that, because I think we all view our leadership roles in that same way, but at the same time, that's tough. Like when you are trying to be that leader that is putting other people first and trying to support wherever you can and help out wherever you can, and then it's tough to be that lone leader. And so I think a lot of us have really good teams around us and have good connections to help feed us. Talk to us a little bit about your team. Who are the people that are on your side or on your team that can feed you to stay with us?
I feel like the day-to-day is 100% my management team and Head Start and my office staff, the office staff being the front office staff, the program assistants, family service workers. We are together 12 months a year. And so they are essential in helping on the day-to-day as far as, we've all got questions. We try to be there to support each other. But there's times where people have seen me probably not at my best, I would say. But I also feel, though, like that's the environment we want to create, that safe space. So if we're going to lose it, if you will, I'd rather that we lose it in that tight-knit group, because then we're showing them that that's okay as long as we keep it within this group. And I feel like, I just feel like, and you have to be human. You can't just be like somebody that's acting untouchable, because they need to see that transparency, in you. And then people see that, and then they also feel more comfortable being transparent. So really and truly, I feel like it's my office team. And at the end of the day, if it's been a rough day, 100% it's my husband. He puts up with a lot. He'll tell you that.
No filter. We know
No
where you
filter.
get it. Yep.
He'll
That's
tell
right.
you.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you said, how many staff do you oversee?
About 95.
So 95 staff. You're talking about being vulnerable and building trust through communication, I'm sure. Communicating with 95 people and making sure we're all on the same page for the benefit of our 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. That would be really challenging. So communicating them in a timely manner, making sure that you come full circle back. Talk to us a little bit about some of those challenges too, because I know that can be a challenge as well. You feel like sometimes if you don't get back in a certain amount of time, you feel like you've dropped the ball, and but when you've built something like you're talking about, there's a certain amount of trust, vulnerability that it can be forgiven or excused, or, hey, I know you have best intentions.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about just the communication piece of being a leader.
Sure. So I think that the important part is it kind of goes back to the fact that they know that you care. So the start of every month, on the first day of every month, I actually send out a survey to all staff. I do a monthly check-in with them. So it's just a real quick, like 3 or 4
I like that.
question
That's a great idea.
survey.
I like that.
And it's optional, right? I'm not forcing anybody to respond, but it opens the door for that communication as far as checking in, to just say, hey, I'm just checking in. What are 3 words that you would say today? Give me 3 words of how you feel today. And then after the 3 words, it's how can I support you? Would you like me to follow up with a phone call, a text, an email? Do you want a meeting? And then do you know of any other staff that are in need of support that maybe aren't as forthcoming with sharing that? So I do that at the first of every month. And then every week I send out Nicole's Namaste notes, and that is it's twofold. So one, it's whoever has birthdays that month, we're celebrating birthdays. It's also reminders for that week of these are things up and coming. Don't forget about to submit your newsletter blurb, or to this assessment is due by this point. Those kinds of things. We have this family event coming up. Blah blah blah. This last year I've added in what I'm watching and what I'm reading. And I think I've heard from people on staff that I changed it up a little bit over like coming back in January, and people a couple weeks ago were like, yeah, we missed that. You're not doing that. What's going on? I was like, oh, sorry.
They come to expect
Because I
it.
thought maybe they weren't right. They weren't that excited, but
Right.
it's helped that facilitation of conversation of these are things I've watched. And then I do the rating. I'm like Roger Ebert from the 80s. Like, this is my rating of this show or movie. This is my rating of this book. And then people will be like, I'm reading this, or I'm watching this.
Conversation starter. That's
So
good.
I think those things, right, are the beginning of making sure. So those people, again, it's that transparency, seeing that you're a real person. You have other things outside of guiding or leading them and being the director of the program. But I'm an over communicator. I will send emails. I will send text messages. The one thing I've really tried, and the staff has been so amazing with this, I had a really difficult time for a long time, actually, of a balance. I would call it the work-home life balance. And so the one thing that I told myself in the start of 2025 that I would do, and I did it, and it has been so helpful, is I will do not disturb on my phone from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. And I do that for myself because I need that time. But the staff is so respectful of that. Like, they're like, it's okay that you didn't reply till the next day, but I do hold myself to that 24-hour response time. I mean, that's my own personal thing, but I just do that. So if you're going to reach out, parents, staff, anything, I will get back to you in 24 hours. So
You mentioned the balance of it all, and it's difficult.
yes.
And finding that, I know somebody else that puts on that do not disturb, not pointing any fingers or anything, but he puts that on there. So I just
Yeah,
I gotta respect that.
Yeah.
I'm in bed at 9 o'clock, and there are some nights I'm up at 3. But
But you're setting those boundaries.
Yeah.
And I think that's a healthy thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think all of us want to be as responsive as we possibly can to staff and parents and stakeholders and things like that. But there has to be a line. There has to be a time that is
And you
yours.
can't help them fill it. That's in some book too. You can't help them fill their bowl or jar or whatever if yours is empty.
Yes.
So it's like,
Yes.
I've been there too, where mine is
Yes.
beneath empty. And
Yep.
it's really hard to be able to try to be the best leader that you can be and the most supportive when you are drained to the bottom.
well, we want to thank you, Nicole. It's fantastic talking with you and hearing about all you do. We get to see it personally because we're in admin meetings and we're involved with you because you have programs in our schools, and you've just done a fantastic job for leading the early childhood programs here in this district, and we're thankful for you. We're thankful that you were willing to spend some time with us and even share about the alpacas.
More
And
to come, I guess.
I know
There's going to be a part 2.
I know.
Part 2. I just
Let's
need
get
a little
that set
notice
up.
to work that through.
Nicole Berry, the sequel. Love it.
Nicole, thanks so much.
Absolutely.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you.
If you're feeling generous, give us a 5-star rating and tell a friend.
And the people in the back.
This has been the My Rock Podcast. And until next time,
Rock on.
rock on.